Today on The Young and the Restless, Kyle tells Diane he plans to get Billy out of Jabot. Daniel keeps Heather's news from Lily, and Phyllis gives Jack valuable information. Kyle awakens in Audra's suite, checks the time, and curses. Audra appears, dressed for work, and tells him he should stay over more often. Kyle's glad to see her first thing in the morning, but his son needs to know he'll always be there. Audra's sure it's not the end of the world. At Lily's place, Daniel pours a coffee. Lily notices he's on edge. His mother starts at Omegasphere today, and you never know how things are going to work out with Phyllis. Lily asks if he still feels he can't trust her. Daniel knows she wants to be an honest and sincere person, but at the end of the day she's still Phyllis Summers, so anything could happen. Lily hopes his mother will behave herself. Daniel keeps telling himself to be cautiously optimistic. He asks if Lily figured out what's going on with Mamie. Lily says not really. She hopes it's as simple as she's saying and is trying not to fixate on it. She asks what he's doing for lunch, and Daniel says, spending it with you if I'm lucky. They kiss until Lily says she has to go. Once alone, Daniel gets a text from Heather thanking him for yesterday and saying how excited she is to be moving home. At the Abbott house, Diane teases Jack if he thinks it's too soon to start planning their next wedding vow renewal. Perhaps they can have a party for their one-year anniversary. Jack teases he won't be able to wait that long. He checks his phone and muses that he thought he'd have heard from Phyllis by now. In his suite, Tucker listens through the bug in the bonsai tree as Jack tells Diane that Phyllis is their best bet for taking him down. They have to collect as much information as they can just in case. Diane remarks that they don't even know what he wants. Jack is hoping Phyllis will do the right thing and help them out as she claims to want to make amends. Diane chuckles at the lovely sentiment, but she knows that the only side Phyllis is ever really on is her own. Tucker muses to himself, "Oh Phyllis, 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 do you ever learn?" On Crimson Light's patio, Phyllis frowns at her laptop and sends Jack a text message, "Found something. Can we meet?" Danny appears and she closes the computer. He asks, "Everything okay?" He asks what she was up to. Phyllis claims she was doing a little research and that it's her first day at Omegasphere. Danny says Daniel has faith in her. Phyllis wants to prove herself to both her kids. Danny believes she will. Phyllis wanted to thank him for the conversation yesterday too. He helped her change her perspective on some things. "Thank you for believing in me after everything I've done and our history." Danny thinks they're past that, and he hears her when she says she wants to change. Phyllis just wants to do right by her kids. Danny teases it might be challenging, but she can do anything she wants when she's determined. You're that kind of person. In the park, Devin and Abby coo over Dom, who is asleep in the stroller after running around. They talk about how they loved getting dressed up the other night. They're lucky nothing crazy happened. Abby's glad her mother wasn't there, although she does think she's softened a bit toward Dayan. She's trying to regain her footing and is nervous about coming home. Devin doesn't know how Tucker would react if they came face to face. Abby thinks they hurt each other a lot. Devin muses that his father was a better person with her. Abby says Ashley admitted when it comes to Tucker, she doesn't know what to think anymore. Hamas turns Israeli rave party to a nightmare. Abby tells Devin that she told her mom about his suspicion that Tucker was connected to Mamie. She said she wouldn't put anything past Tucker, especially now that she's not there to keep him in line. Devin isn't sure what to think. He felt a vibe between Tucker and Mamie. Abby can't believe that Mamie would get involved with him. Devin counters that she's been extremely secretive. He also agrees with her mom that anything's possible when it comes to Tucker. He would like to think the best of his father, but it's getting harder and harder to do that. At the Abbott house, Jack tells Diane that Phyllis says she has something on Tucker. In his suite, Tucker listens as Jack tells Diane about Phyllis' text and marvels. "Wouldn't it be something if Phyllis came through for us?" He then hears Jack say he's meeting Phyllis at Crimson Lights. In the Abbott living room, Diane doesn't trust Phyllis' intentions and doesn't want her to hurt them. Jack assures his wife it's just one meeting and he's going in with his eyes open. Diane will cross her fingers. Jack kisses her and walks out. At Crimson Lights, Danny tells Phyllis that he heard Heather's back in town, but Lucy stayed in Lisbon with Paul and Christine. Phyllis fumes, "If that bug says one negative thing about me, Danny is sure she wouldn't do that." He tells Phyllis that he doesn't have to like Christine, but they're both good people when it comes down to it. Phyllis asks if she still holds a special place in his heart. Danny says of course, as does Phyllis. The redhead wonders if he's holding out hope that he can be with Chris, if it doesn't work out with Paul. Danny remarks on her inherent ability to sniff out drama. I want her to be happy, as I want you to be happy. Phyllis can't believe this is happening. Danny just wants to see what happens in the next chapter of their lives together, free of the past. Phyllis is on board. Just then, Tucker appears and stares at Phyllis. Phyllis excuses herself and Danny tells her good luck at work and he'll be rooting for her. She walks inside and Tucker muses, "You've been a busy woman." He wonders if she's helping Jack turn the tables on him. "I have eyes and ears all over this town." Just then Jack walks in and narrows his eyes upon seeing the two of them talking. Phyllis tells Jack to have a nice day and trots out with her coffee. Tucker asks the abbot if he got the bonsai tree. Jack thinks the gesture was all smoke and mirrors. "We don't for 1 minute buy your truce." Tucker can't understand why. Jack says they know what he put Phyllis up to. "You had her hack into one of Jabut's accounts and transfer funds to Billy's account." Tucker muses, it sounds fascinating and elaborate, but claims it has nothing to do with him. Jack warns him to think twice before doing anything else to Jabut. Jack gets a text from Phyllis saying, "Society. Now." Kyle enters the Abbott house, where Diane tells him Harrison has gone to school and wondered where his daddy had gone. Kyle claims he crashed at a friend's place. Diane says this isn't like him, you don't just neglect your son. Kyle asks her not to make him feel worse than he already does. Diane says it's not just last night, please just talk to me. Let me help. Kyle insists he's fine. Diane is worried about him. Kyle is okay and moving on. Diane saw a glimpse of the old Kyle at their ceremony and he and Summer seemed to be getting along, and then Audra showed up and I could literally see the change in your demeanor. She hopes it wasn't her he stayed with last night. Kyle is very clear now about what he wants. He wants his old job back at Jabut. "I'm going to replace Billy and I'm convinced that will happen." Diane grins. In the park, Lily has joined Devin and Abby and coos over Dom in the stroller. Lily tells Devin she talked to Jill, who headed out this morning, and is going to look into Mamie and her investing firm. She's convinced there's more going on. Lily asks Devin if he thinks Mamie might be connected to Tucker. Devin says he caught a moment between Mamie and Tucker at the wedding, but Tucker claims there was nothing to it. He can't really believe it when he's tied to so much drama lately. Abby believes he's bad news, although he's been a father and grandfather. Devin claims he's a magnet for trouble and wonders if he should sever ties and make a clean break. Jack meets Phyllis at Society and tells her that Tucker followed her, but he lost him. Phyllis informs Jack that she hacked into McCall's computer as he asked her to, and she found out he recently purchased a listening device with an accompanying phone app. When she saw him at the coffee house, he said he had eyes and ears all over Geno City. Jack says it's all starting to make sense and thanks her. She asks if they're square. He says no, but they're off to a good start. Phyllis asks what's left. Jack says it would help if she admitted she helped Tucker hack into Jabut. Phyllis denies she had anything to do with that. Danny appears and listens as Jack calls her a liar. Phyllis reminds him he asked her for a favor and said that it would help her redeem herself. "I did what you asked. Are you going back on your word?" Jack says this was just the first step. She's sure they'll get there. As Jack leaves, Danny frowns, thinking. He joins Phyllis and asks, "So, what are you up to, Phyllis?" In the park, Abby asks if Devin really wants to give up on his father. Devin doesn't, but he never really had high expectations. Abby and Devin tell Lily he's a regular at Dom's music classes, and it seemed he wanted to turn his life around, but whatever happened with Ashley in Paris undid his progress. The signs are everywhere and maybe it's on him now to change the way he reacts to him. He can't shake the feeling he's up to something, and he won't let the family or the company be affected by it. At the Abbott house, Kyle tells Diane he really wants to come back to Jabut, he just has to figure out how to make it happen. Jack comes in, holds up a finger, and goes straight to the bonsai tree, on which he discovers a listening device. At Society, Danny tells Phyllis that he thought she was headed to the office. He keeps seeing her with Jack, and there's tension. Phyllis says he can't seem to forgive her for what she did. Danny asks, "And that's all?" Phyllis replies, "What else would it be?" Danny saw her weird and suspicious exchange with Tucker and Jack in Crimson Lights. He hopes she's not caught in the middle of their animosity. Daniel arrives as she tells Danny she's not and that he sounds paranoid. Daniel asks, paranoid about what? Tucker joins Audra for breakfast in the GCAC and complains that Jack's trying to get Phyllis to play double agent against him. Why would he even trust her at this point? Audra muses about their volatile history, which can blur the lines between allies and enemies. Phyllis is desperate for forgiveness, and may be willing to work overtime to get it. Tucker counters that Jack knows she helped him hack into Jabba, so why would he give her the benefit of the doubt? Audra thinks that's Jack's problem. Tucker muses, it could be mine too. I've got to stay ahead of this. Audra has faith in him. He asks how things are on her end. Did she reignite the flame with Kyle? She says it was easy and most enjoyable. She confides the best part, Kyle is after Billy's job. Tucker isn't surprised. Audra realizes he wants Billy out of the picture at Jabba and Kyle is the way to do it. At the Abbott house, Jack puts the bonsai tree outside the door and then tells Kyle and Diane that Phyllis discovered Tucker had recently purchased a listening device and the app to go with it. The bonsai tree had a hidden surprise. Diane fumes, peace, love, and forgiveness my ass. She can't believe Phyllis gave him the information with no strings attached. Jack relays she still won't admit to hacking into Jabba from a call. Kyle asks why he didn't destroy the bug. Jack thought about it but changed his mind. This could be useful. If Tucker isn't onto us, we can use this to our advantage.